I don't know why.
2 times in a row.
I don't know why.
So a couple of things we're going to do in this video. We're going to follow up on some conference talks. Just some more thoughts and ideas. On this channel, typically I'm not the first to jump on in the YouTube world and comment about certain things. Kind of like to let things kind of simmer and see where they come out. So we have some more insights about some of the talks, and obviously the current world events, just Israel has been attacking Syria almost on like 2 or 3 times a day, and there's been violence on the Temple Mount. It's crazy. I've talked about this before, but if you're ever thinking of going to Israel, first off, I would not be afraid. I would not go in fear. I think Israel overall is safer than almost all of our major cities in the United States. That's how I feel. I've never felt fearful there, and I've only been there 3 times. But having said that, the spring season with Ramadan, Passover, other feasts falling generally at the same time, there's a heightened awareness, I guess, of things that could possibly take place. So if you're planning, just keep that in mind. For me, it's not the worry of things happening, because that can happen anywhere. What bothers me is if a site that I really want to see is shut down, like the Temple Mount could be at times shut down because of unrest. That's what bothers me more than fearing of something bad's going to happen. You just can't go or have that kind of attitude. But you do have to kind of think of, well, I really want to see this site. It's on the plan, but if there's going to be a problem, I don't want to miss that. So the fall typically is a little less that way when you think of it. However, when we were there, Shechem, Nablus, the current city Nablus, it was under shutdown, which I think it still is. There's just so much going on there. And Hebron was as well. So it happened to us in the fall. Gives you another reason to go back. Anyway, before we get into conference talks and some other insights, I think you wanted to talk about Cardio Miracle.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
She does not lie.
Yeah, sometimes
she's almost a little too truthful.
I am not lying when it comes to Cardio Miracle. And I'm going to knock on wood, because we have been around some sick people, and
we're still upright.
In a room that's, a lot bigger than this, don't get me wrong, but I swear by Cardio Miracle. I take 2 scoops a day, and I swear by it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I am thankful. I'm really thankful for it. So I wanted to talk about that. And also, if any of you, can I just say one more thing about Cardio Miracle? I know a lot of people say it's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. It is pricey, but it's way cheaper than a doctor, the medication, off work, whatever. It is, to me,
and just feeling crappy. Even if it doesn't cost you anything, it costs you a lot, in the sense of you can't do it. You can't do nearly what you can do when you're feeling healthy. Yeah. I
love it.
So do I.
I know some people say the taste is awful. Not for me. It's not like chocolate almonds or chocolate covered almonds or something.
Is that your favorite?
Something delicious like that.
Is that your go-to?
Well, maybe. But it is. I've been around a lot of sick people recently. Let's just put it that way. And so far, so good. Knocking on wood and drinking my cardio miracle. Uh-oh. Sorry, we're tending dogs. Okay.
See, I knocked on that.
Don't. No. Okay, and then our last thing is, hush. Our last thing is our Jace case. It was advertised after conference or during conference, and look what I got.
But we actually ordered it before conference.
Well, I didn't. I ordered it during conference on Saturday.
Did you do it based on the commercial?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought somebody sent you something on it.
Well, I was talking, okay, so this is pretty cool. I was talking to my son. It was Saturday because I was talking to him and I said, oh gosh, I can't find this Jace medical thing. I went on and did JACE and it came up with some weird website, and he goes, oh, I've done it. And he said, my daughter is on some antibiotics right now from the Jace case. And he said, so Google this, blah, blah, blah. So Jace, Jase medical. It was $259, and for me, I'd much rather have this than $259 that the banks are going to foreclose on you. So,
so you have amoxicillin.
You have erythromycin, ciprofloxacin, doxycycline.
That's easy for you to say.
Fluconazole, fluconazole, metronidazole. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff in here, and it gives you the whole. I have 5 things, and man, I'd much rather have it than not have it. And so, and it gives you all of the instructions of what to use it for, how to use it. And so I did that on Saturday. I got online, found it, and it's here, and it's Wednesday. So I'm thankful. And if any of you have been to Costco lately, there's no applesauce. There's a bunch of, I don't know, stuff. Like there was no Easter. I know, I'm late. We had a X out on Monday when we went shopping. It was like all the Easter stuff is gone, but anyway, so I hope you are all prepared. That's all.
That's all you had on that.
That's all I had. I'm so excited to have this, and I probably shouldn't show because then somebody's going to come and hold me up and kill me for my Jace case. You can just have it. I don't need to be killed. If I die, I die, but you can just have it if you need it. I just want you to know.
No, it's good to be prepared in all kinds of ways. Food, water, medicine, for sure. So we were talking about President Nelson's his main talk on contention, avoiding contention, and I already mentioned that we can contend without being contentious. We can always stand up for what's right, and we all know that we need to stand for principles and truth. We need to, but we also know that there are methods and ways to do that without battling like this. And we got talking about this, and it just reminded us of this funny story about our granddaughter, about little Jane. And I might have mentioned this before, I can't remember, but do you want to tell it? Because it happened to you.
Well, I'm with them, and this medication that she's on right now, she's going through the same thing that she did the end of November and first part of December when she was in the hospital, and it totally shuts down your system. It's horrid. But anyway, so before she went into the hospital, I'm talking to her. I just said, Jane, just take a little book, go sit on the potty. And I went on for...
Sue can sometimes lengthen out the explanation of what...
Well, I was trying to help her. She's 4 years old, and I'm trying to just do the grandma thing. You know, Jane, if you do this, blah, blah, blah. And at the very end of it, I think I need to move back because... But at the very end of it, she went, Gogo. So she listened to my big presentation and her explanation, and
she just turned to grandma and went, Gogo. So this is our recommendation now when you get into a confrontation with somebody, or you're in the discussion and it's getting heated at some point, you can just go, Gogo. And then that just will diffuse everything, right?
That's right. It's our funniest thing. So we get to think about it now when little Jane is not feeling well.
Okay, so a couple of things back to the crunch. If I can get right to the crunch talk. Some of you had some awesome insights. Just really, really spot on. And one good brother that I know, and we've communicated a few times, he said, oh, when he heard that, it just is like, oh, I hope some of my friends that are not members of our faith that I know watch conference occasionally, I hope they didn't hear that. And that's a really interesting observation. I had a similar one. It was like cringeworthy that our faith, our religion, if you will, the membership in our church is that we would be so exact in following that it would include the crunching of a water bottle. Now, if you think of that, it's like what we've talked about here on this channel before. If you served a mission and you had investigators that you brought to church, and it was fast and testimony meeting or any meeting, and there were some talks or some things said that you just were like, yes, that's exactly what these folks need to hear. And it was so exciting. And then there were other times you were just like, oh, I hope they didn't hear that, kind of thing. That's how that was for me and for this good brother that made that comment. The other thing about the collapsing of the bottle is that it and I've talked about this on the last video, but it reduces, it cheapens what a prophet is really here for, in my opinion. It reduces the significance of having an individual with priesthood keys, and now we've reduced it to collapsing a water bottle. Anyway, but it is interesting how I checked one channel out, that really pounds on follow the prophet, and I've mentioned the channel before. It's Zion or Bust, and that was their favorite talk. That was his favorite talk, which didn't surprise me. But out of all the talks, one thing, I think it was President Eyring, he talked about that I just want to bring up real quick because it came into my mind. But he talked about, and Elder Uchtdorf did too on this, about babies coming into the earth bring another element of the light of Christ that magnifies. Now, they didn't come out and say, everybody go out and have a bunch of babies. They just made that statement that babies coming in bring more light. Now, if you think of the alphabet group, right? all that eliminates additional light of Christ coming into the earth. Yeah.
So the other day on the news, did I already talk about this? This young man had been shot, and this woman who had her partner there. Anyway, she was right there when it happened, and she said, my mommy instincts, how did she say it?
Kicked in.
My mommy instincts kicked in, and she nursed that man, I guess that's the word that you can use, until he passed away. And I just thought, here she is. She has a partner of the same sex, but her mommy instincts, her female instincts kicked in.
And she said that. She
said it on TV.
Yeah.
She didn't look like me. Let's just put it that way. And I just thought, you know what? That is the light of Christ right there.
Yeah.
Being exhibited, because this woman, her instinct to take care of somebody overshadowed her safety, her well-being, worried about blood, vomit, whatever. That was more important to her, taking care of that young man that had been shot right there.
I think it happened out in Twilla. Yeah.
It was right by a bar.
Yeah.
And she'd been in the bar. They'd been in the bar and came out, and he'd been shot. And she says, my mommy instincts kicked in. So.
Pretty cool. So along those lines, I can't believe I didn't mention this on the last video, but because I think it's probably one of the most important talks that were given was Elder Uchtdorf. And it was very Ezra Taft Benson-esque talk. His verbiage was to, instead of saying a mother or a father, it was the parents. The parents need to raise their children. Now, this is pretty powerful stuff for right now, for him to say that. I'm surprised there wasn't some blowback, but the brethren are learning what and how they can say things by proclaiming the gospel, the doctrine, and all the principles that apply to those without getting the attack of the world. And I thought it was a brilliant talk in that way, but also very spirit-felt. And I would hope everyone would go through that talk along with President Irings and see how pertinent that is for today and for our future, for our survival. It was so good. Now on a more of a funny note, this just came into my head too. Good friend of mine, Mark, won't give your last name, Mark, but he always has brilliant comments. But he talked about the subliminal, messages that could be. We're all looking for these different messages that could be in conference, and we have that I got jabbed, but I didn't get infected. Remember that?
I do very well.
Yeah.
President Nelson. And I think this is, it is significant. I think there were a lot of messages. I think along those lines, so that was President Nelson who said he was in surgery, the doctor got, he was assisting, I think it was an amputation, wasn't it? And the doctor he was assisting blew his top and got mad, threw the scalpel, and it actually went in to President Nelson, and it was an infectious limb that was being amputated. And he said, I got jabbed, but I wasn't infected. Wow. Well, the other, I think, message there was, it was kind of strange, I thought, that they would mention the illness that Elder Holland, I can't remember, did they say that his wife had it too, or just,
Elder Holland.
No, I think they said that both of them were suffering from
Both
it.
of them, yeah. I think you're right. From COVID. Now, typically, you don't hear from the pulpit what somebody's particular ailment is. You know, you would say they're under the weather, or they're not feeling well. We miss them today. They're getting back to better health. You know, or there's a myriad of ways to state it, but to say that they have COVID, what does that tell you? First off, it tells you that we learned from the church news media that all the apostles and our first presidency over the age of was it 70? I think it was 70. That they all received the vaccine. Now this goes way back when the vaccine first became available. Well, Elder Holland would have been one of those, and I suspect subsequently, I don't know this, I don't know if he got the boosters after, but if the news media was right, he got the initial vaccine. Now you remember the promises made by health officials and government is that if you received the vaccine, you would not get COVID. And also, then it as that didn't come about. Well, let me finish that thought first. Remember when President Biden said that COVID is a disease of the unvaccinated. So if you got vaccinated, you wouldn't be part of the problem. So then as time went on, it was evident that was a lie, and so it was, well, your symptoms will be less if you get that. Well, that's an unprovable thing. You can't prove that, so it's easy to go there. So here's the message I got from that, is that in a really direct but non-confrontational way, the church was saying one of our leaders has COVID and his wife, and they've been vaccinated. That's what that said to me. I thought that was, kind of this subliminal message of, you know what? It didn't work. And here's proof. One of our apostles can't be with us today. And his wife is sick as well. So now others might say, well, he probably feels fine. He just tested positive, and so he chose not to come in effect. But that is so stupid, because everybody.
Well, you go and get tested because you're feeling well.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. So those are some thoughts I had.
Can we just call it the water bottle from now on?
The water bottle. Yeah, because the water bottle now is the
symbol.
The symbol
of following the prophet.
Of this and everything else. I can do that. Okay. Why don't you want me to?
You can. I'm sick of it all. It's just a lie.
I know.
It's a farce. It's just, the whole thing is just a outright lie. And all these people that are kicking over, and these young people that are dying, and
14-year-old in Canada, figure skater, dead. Unexplainable. They don't know what happened. These things happen over and over and over again. So, yeah, that was another insight I had, that just, kind of these subliminal things that kind of come to you after a while.
And it all, I don't really care that anybody got it. But I wish they would, see, that's why I don't even want to talk about it, because
you're getting contentious.
I am. I'm sorry.
Gogo. There. That took care of that.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. What else did you have?
Okay, what's today? Today's Wednesday. And as far as the week of before the Savior's crucifixion, during this week, what happened on Wednesday? Okay, This is pretty cool. So on Wednesday, Christ sat on the Mount of Olives, and his disciples came to him privately saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be?" He was talking about the stones of the temple and how...
This is our second coming chapter, and it happened today.
Happened today.
This is...
Our second coming of Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to read this a little bit. "Tell us when these things shall be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world." See, this is what happens. "And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and shall deceive many. And then ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. And all these are the beginning of sorrows." If that's true, I don't...
Can I just make one comment on
Yes.
that? I've said this before, but diverse or different places, how would we know those? So the argument on this, on that particular, those words that were just read, is that this has always been happening. It's always been happening. But the diverse places, to me, is the key that it's talking about today, because we wouldn't know if these things are happening in different places. This is the only time in the history of the world, of mankind, that we have this communication system that we almost know immediate. Another tornado hit Missouri, and a few killed that we know of. So this is, we don't even talk about it hardly anymore. We're the aftermath of these tornadoes is huge, and yet it gets a day coverage because there's another one or another situation. Well, so I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." And what did we talk about all through conference? About dissension. Division. And that only comes because our love for one another waxes cold. Not you and me, but people.
I read you.
And then in verse 13 it says, "But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved." So our lesson is to endure to the end. But I have to tell you, we have just wonderful, wonderful people in our lives. And we have this incredible missionary, and he's so smart, and he's always sending us some really cool stuff. So if you're listening, he might not listen. I don't know if he listens in a consistent way, but this is from the Isaiah Institute that he sent me. "In a day when the iniquity of the world's inhabitants has reached surfeit, and the God is preaching his own sermons by pouring out his judgments without measure, do we really believe that turning to the arm of flesh for a solution will remedy things and not indict us even more? So predicts Isaiah in the context of Ephraim's leaders making a covenant with death. The overflowing scourge they seek to escape by reaching an understanding with Sheol, with what God has destined to pass away, overtakes them in the end. It is inconsistent with the avalanche of disasters sweeping the planet. Floods, droughts, fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, scourges, plagues, wars, invasions, genocide, bankruptcies, expulsions, evictions, rising prices, scarcities, etc., to believe that these aren't a consequence of humanity's wickedness, such as violence, murders, infanticide, slavery, injustice, pornography, sexual deviance, pedophilia, satanic cults, adultery, etc., and to assume that these calamities will soon go away and everything will again return to normal. Okay, so this is what Matthew 24 talks about, and also Matthew 25 is part of Wednesday's, what Christ did on Wednesday.
Is this all on the Mount of Olives?
Yes. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps. See, I can't even read it. And went forth to meet the bridegroom. So, half were foolish, half were wise, half had vessels filled with oil, waiting. It's like my food storage. It's pretty good, and then I start eating it, and then I'm like, I gotta fill the coffers again, or coffers. So this is what the message was in Matthew 25. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps of testimony, I will add, from Elder Bednar. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. So their oil of conversion is gone. Mm-hmm. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. So I just have to say, we can share so much, but what we need to do is testify of these truths that we need to be ready for when the Lord comes. Who knows when it's going to be? For me, it might be a lot sooner than other people, or it might be a lot longer. Maybe I'll be here for a long time. I don't know. But no matter what, we have to be ready. And we are ready by really searching our scriptures every single day. And I think it's so cool that on Wednesday, these things are what happened in the week-long events of Christ. And what happens tomorrow? Tomorrow's the Passover. And then it's Christ's suffering in Gethsemane. I wrote all my little notes down to keep in my little journal.
I think today in Israel, it's the first day of Passover. Like right now, I think.
It's pretty amazing. It is. It's pretty amazing. So, anyway, just to end this, while the unwise virgins,
Here.
and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut, or the door was locked. So
very reminiscent of the ark.
Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say to you, I know you not. So verse 13 says, Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So for some of us, it might be soon. Some of us, it might be a long time away. But hopefully we'll be ready. Through our Jace case, through our cardio miracle, through reading our scriptures every single day. And I do have to say that by reading our Come Follow Me, I got up early on Monday and read it all and went through every scripture, and I just thought, man, the Spirit just testifies of these truths, and it's just so amazing. I love it so much. And you can really relive these things that happened with Christ. And you know that all of what he went through, that eventually one day all would be made well with us if we continue on and do what we should do. And I don't know, I'll try really hard not to have contention, dear. But I will stand up for truth and righteousness, and I just want everybody to know that. I
know you will, and you do, and you're awesome that way. Had a really good Saturday conference. There's a guy in our ward that we've just connected since we moved here, and he's battling cancer right now, real brutal. But he had a lot of snow on his roof, and the group meet message went out through the elders quorum that we were going to go over to his home in between sessions on Saturday and get the snow off his roof. Well, I think I was the oldest guy there, and I was good for about 20 minutes, maybe.
You told me a half hour.
Well, maybe it was a half hour. I worked for a half hour, but I was probably really working hard for about 20 minutes. And I had this big, long roof rake, snow rake, and my upper body isn't all that great strength-wise. And so I pooped out. And these younger guys in our quorum were just going to town, shoveling and doing everything. And I just went, well, I'm kind of just sitting around here. So I went in and had a nice visit with my friend in his home. We could hear everybody on the roof, But what it reminded me of is we all have something to contribute. And even though I pooped out physically and wasn't much help towards the latter part of doing that, there was something else. And it wasn't my nature. It's not my nature to do that. I'm not like she is. She sees and feels, what's going on around her with people. And I'm just like, well, they didn't talk to me. I don't need to talk to them. Great. Boom. I go get something else done kind of thing. And that's just kind of a confession, but this was really a neat experience. And we just had a good day. We had some families that we ministered to that we were able to actually visit with. One guy in particular is hard to get a hold of, and we just happened to see him on a walk, And we just do whatever we can in the situation that we're in, and those opportunities will come up. So I wanted to share that. And the other thing I wanted to say before I finish is we had the most incredible day at the Brigham City Temple yesterday. Uh-huh. And a shout out to all the temple workers, the people there. The
artwork is amazing. And so
everything about the place, the people,
you can stand on, I guess it's a pillar or something.
Yeah, a post of a entryway.
So I can't remember, were we leaving? We just finished in the celestial room, we were leaving, and we wanted to look at the artwork down a hall, and one of the ladies, she was like, she goes, come here, stand here. So we went and stood up by this post, and before we had looked at this picture of the Savior. And then she said, come here.
He's coming out of the tomb, right?
Out of the tomb. She had us stand right there, and you could see through 2 mirrors.
Yeah.
One reflecting from another one. That picture on that wall of the Savior coming out of the tomb. It was
so cool. It was
cool.
An amazing day. A real amazing day.
Their artwork is just spectacular.
Yeah. Never, I think we'd been to a ceiling there, I believe, but never through a session and all that. So very kind people, very wonderful place. So thank you for that. Did you want to finish up today with anything?
No, we just need to be prepared.
Be prepared.
And don't you wonder when people fall away because of, the church did this or the church did that, or, the apostles are this, or they had this in their background. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. We are a church full of imperfect people, and if you start thinking that imperfect people can run a perfect church, yes, I know there are parts of it that are, well, how do I say it? It's an organization run by imperfect people. The gospel part is perfect, but maybe the church part isn't so perfect. And yeah, maybe they've done this or done that, and we don't know. But man, to fall away after having these scriptures, having an understanding of really what is truth, I'm just like, you guys, if you can't go to the temple, I feel really bad for you, because I think of what we are promised through our temple ordinances. And I don't want to ever be without them.
Beautiful.
So.
Beautiful. Love that. All right, we're going to end on that. Thank you. We love you all.
Love you.
Thanks
this isn't going to be a regular for me. I just want you to know. So I don't know why I succumbed. Oh, I think it was because of the Jace case.
She wanted to show
Jace Medical. JASE medical.com. You know, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for good, kind people who are smart and who know this and understand this, and I'm grateful. I mean, who knows when we're going to need this and we're not going to be able to access a doctor, a pharmacy, or whatever. There are a couple more things I need to refurbish, but anyway, if you want them, come and get them from me. If you want to kill me, that's fine. I don't care. You can have my food storage too, and then I won't have to worry about packing up and moving and eating it all. Or whatever else I have.
Okay, you heard it. All right, we'll talk to you soon. We love you all. See you later.
Bye.